10 iconic stars who shattered gender norms. You won't believe number 1. Beneath the dazzling lights of Hollywood, where reinvention is the norm, some stories transcend the silver screen, reshaping our understanding of identity and courage. In a world where gender expectations have long dictated how people live, work, and love, a few bold individuals have dared to defy the status quo. Today, we're spotlighting 10 iconic stars who shattered gender norms, proving that authenticity is the ultimate success. When you reach the last name on our list, you won't believe what they overcame. It's nothing short of incredible. Drop a in the comments if you're ready for an eye-opening journey. Here's the structured section, based strictly on the data you provided. Caitlyn Jenner's journey is one of courage, resilience, and breaking barriers. Before her transition, the world knew her as Bruce Jenner, an Olympic champion and a symbol of masculinity. Winning the gold medal in the decathlon at the 1976 Montreal Olympics cemented Bruce's status as one of the greatest athletes in history. However, behind this celebrated public image, Caitlyn quietly grappled with intense emotions she couldn't fully comprehend at the time. Even as a child, Bruce felt an unusual pull toward his mother's and sister's clothing, an experience that left him both fascinated and deeply confused. Growing up in an era when discussions of gender identity were rare and often met with stigma, Caitlyn had no language or context to express her feelings. This forced her to face these struggles alone, suppressing her true self for decades. To manage the internal conflict, Bruce turned to sports, channeling energy into athletics as a means of escape. His relentless focus and drive led to historic accomplishments, culminating in the Olympic gold medal. But even at the peak of his success, the inner struggles persisted. Alongside his athletic feats, Bruce built a life as a devoted father and husband, taking on the responsibilities and expectations that came with those roles. Yet beneath this public image of achievement and stability, the battle with his true identity quietly endured. Despite his remarkable accomplishments, Bruce often found himself weighed down by unhappiness, contributing to the end of his first 2 marriages. While married to Linda Thompson, he tried to open up about his struggles with gender identity, but Linda's inability to fully comprehend his feelings only deepened his sense of isolation. This loneliness carried into his marriage with Kris Jenner. Early in their relationship, Bruce disclosed that he had been taking hormones for 4 years. Yet Kris later stated she was unaware of the depth of Bruce's internal struggle. The lack of mutual understanding added tension to their marriage, complicating Bruce's already challenging path of self-discovery. Despite these personal struggles, Bruce and Kris built a loving family and gained worldwide fame through keeping up with the Kardashians. As the patriarch of the Kardashian-Jenner household, Bruce was a cherished and respected figure within both the family and the media. However, the decision to transition into Caitlyn came as a significant surprise to her loved ones, especially her children. Their initial reactions were marked by shock and adjustment, but ultimately, the Kardashian-Jenner family stood by Caitlyn, showing unwavering love and support. This unity highlighted the power of family bonds, demonstrating that acceptance and compassion can provide incredible strength during life's most profound changes. At the age of 65, Caitlyn Jenner took the life-changing step of transitioning, choosing authenticity over the comfort of the life she had long maintained. In 2015, she revealed her true self to the world, making an unforgettable debut on the cover of Vanity Fair under the headline "Call Me Caitlyn." This historic moment was not only a personal milestone, but also a watershed event for transgender visibility. Caitlyn's courage ignited global conversations about transgender rights, bringing increased awareness and acceptance to the community. Once celebrated as a legendary athlete, Caitlyn has since become a beacon of freedom, bravery, and inspiration for anyone striving to live their truth. Laverne Cox's journey to becoming a groundbreaking actress and activist was anything but easy. As the first transgender person nominated for a Primetime Emmy for her role in Orange Is the New Black, she made history, bringing trans narratives into mainstream entertainment like never before. Her portrayal of Sophia Bursett, a transgender woman navigating life in a women's prison, was more than just a role. It was a reflection of real-life struggles, resilience, and the fight for acceptance. However, Laverne's path to success was filled with immense challenges, self-discovery, and unwavering determination. Growing up in Mobile, Alabama, Laverne always sensed she was different, naturally drawn to things deemed feminine by society. She found joy in expressing herself in ways that did not align with the rigid gender norms around her. But in a community that upheld strict expectations, this sense of difference made her a target. Throughout her childhood and teenage years, she endured relentless bullying. Classmates ridiculed her for being too feminine, making her school experience one of isolation and hardship. These painful moments, however, would later fuel her resilience and shape the courageous woman she would become. One of Laverne's earliest passions was dance. The rhythm, movement, and freedom of expression provided her with a sense of joy and liberation that transcended societal limitations. However, convincing her mother to let her take dance lessons proved to be a challenge in a household that upheld traditional gender roles. Initially hesitant, her mother eventually allowed her to take tap and jazz classes, but refused ballet, believing it to be too feminine. Despite this limitation, Laverne immersed herself in dance, using it as an outlet to explore her identity in a way that felt natural and freeing. As she grew older, the conflict between her true identity and society's expectations became more difficult to navigate. Raised in a devout religious environment, she was taught that her feelings were wrong, which deepened her guilt and shame. The emotional burden eventually became overwhelming, leading her to a crisis point. In her teenage years, she attempted to take her own life by swallowing a bottle of pills, unable to see a way forward. Thankfully, she survived, and this harrowing experience became a turning point in her journey. Though the road to self-acceptance was still long and challenging, she found the strength to push forward, determined to embrace her truth. Laverne later moved to New York City, where she found a place to explore her identity more freely. It was here that she began her transition, a process filled with both emotional and physical challenges. The vibrant and diverse city environment allowed her to live openly as the woman she always knew herself to be. Though not without difficulties, this new chapter in her life gave her the strength to fully embrace her identity. Her career took a defining leap forward when she landed the role of Sophia Bursett in Orange is the New Black. The character's story mirrored many of Laverne's own experiences, offering audiences an authentic and multidimensional portrayal of a transgender woman. Through her performance, she broke stereotypes and reshaped representation in mainstream media. Beyond her acting career, Laverne has become a powerful advocate for transgender rights, using her platform to amplify voices in the LGBT+ community. She has tirelessly worked to foster greater acceptance and understanding, encouraging society to see the humanity in every transgender story. Her message, "Trans is beautiful," has inspired countless individuals to embrace their identities and live proudly. Laverne Cox's bravery and perseverance have made her a symbol of hope, empowerment, and change, proving that visibility and representation matter. Her story continues to inspire generations to fight for acceptance, equality, and the right to live authentically. Fallon Fox's story is one of courage, resilience, and the ongoing fight for inclusion in sports. As the first openly transgender female mixed martial artist, she made history in a sport known for its physically demanding nature and deeply rooted ideas about gender and competition. Her journey was not just about winning fights in the cage. It became a broader battle for recognition, fairness, and trans inclusion in athletics. Growing up in Toledo, Ohio, Fallon always sensed she was different. She felt most at ease among girls, but in a conservative environment that strictly enforced traditional gender roles. Explaining these feelings was nearly impossible. Without access to resources or understanding, she struggled in silence, trying to conform to societal expectations. However, her internal conflict only grew stronger over time. Her journey was made even more difficult by the lack of acceptance from her family. When Fallon finally came out as transgender, she was met with rejection. Her mother remained in denial, and her father insisted that she was simply gay and could be cured. This reaction led Fallon to undergo conversion therapy, a widely discredited and harmful practice aimed at changing a person's gender identity or sexual orientation. Instead of providing support, this experience deepened her pain and sense of isolation. Like many transgender individuals, she had to navigate her transition largely without parental support, relying instead on her inner strength to push forward. Determined to live authentically, Fallon made the life-altering decision to transition. Though it was not an easy path, she knew it was the only way to be true to herself. She faced significant stigma and personal challenges, but her unwavering resolve carried her through. Following her transition, she set her sights on a new goal: competing in mixed martial arts. In 2012, Fallon Fox made history by becoming the first openly transgender female MMA fighter. However, her presence in the sport sparked immediate controversy. Critics argued that her background gave her an unfair advantage, claiming that being assigned male at birth endowed her with superior strength and endurance. This backlash placed her at the center of a heated debate over trans athletes' participation in competitive sports. One of the most difficult aspects of Fallon's journey was the shift in how her peers viewed her. Before coming out, she was seen as just another skilled and hardworking female fighter, earning respect through her dedication and talent. But once her identity became public knowledge, the dynamic changed. Many in the MMA community began questioning whether she belonged in the sport at all. This sudden alienation from the community she had long been part of added another layer of difficulty to an already challenging path. Despite the controversy and opposition, Fallon refused to back down. She stood firm in her right to compete and continued advocating for trans athletes' inclusion in sports. Her fight extends far beyond the octagon. It is about breaking down barriers and creating a world where all athletes, regardless of gender identity, are given the opportunity to compete fairly. Today, Fallon remains a powerful voice for transgender rights in sports, proving that authenticity, resilience, and determination can overcome even the toughest opponents. Carmen Carrera's journey from reality TV fame to high-fashion icon is a testament to self-discovery, resilience, and advocacy. She first gained widespread recognition as a contestant on Season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race, where her striking beauty, confidence, and charisma captivated audiences. However, after the show, Carmen embarked on a deeply personal and transformative path, transitioning from male to female. This decision not only reshaped her life, but also challenged perceptions within both the drag and mainstream entertainment industries. Despite her authenticity, Carmen struggled with the way others viewed her. Many continued to see her solely as a drag performer, rather than recognizing her identity as a transgender woman. Drag queens often blur the lines between gender roles for performance, but for Carmen, her transition was not about entertainment. It was about living as her true self. Being categorized as just a drag queen often overshadowed her identity, making her journey even more complex. Her fight for recognition and respect took a significant turn when she publicly called out transphobic language within the drag community. One of the most notable instances occurred when RuPaul's Drag Race featured a controversial segment called She-Male, a play on the derogatory term she-male. Carmen found this offensive and voiced her concerns, arguing that such language was harmful to transgender individuals. Her stance drew both support and criticism. Some praised her for standing up against outdated terms, while others, including certain Drag Race fans, accused her of being ungrateful for the platform the show had given her. Despite the backlash, Carmen remained steadfast in her beliefs. She understood that advocating for transgender respect and representation required challenging even beloved institutions. Her willingness to speak out against transphobia, whether within the LGBTQ+ community or beyond, set her apart as a fearless activist. Following her transition, Carmen's career soared in a new direction. She became an international model, breaking stereotypes in the fashion world. Unlike the industry's past treatment of transgender models, which often marginalized or tokenized them, Carmen demanded to be seen as just another beautiful woman in high fashion. She secured campaigns with major brands, walked runways across the globe, and proved that transgender women deserve the same opportunities as their cisgender counterparts. Beyond modeling, Carmen has used her platform to advocate for transgender representation and respect. She emphasizes the importance of treating trans individuals with dignity, not as spectacles or novelties. Through interviews, social media, and activism, She continues to push for more inclusive and accurate portrayals of transgender people in media and fashion. Looking back, Carmen's story is not just about personal growth. It's about challenging norms, standing up for respect, and making meaningful change. Her transition from a reality TV star to a respected high-fashion model and activist serves as a powerful reminder that embracing one's truth can open doors, redefine industries, and inspire countless others to live authentically. Chaz Bono's journey is one of self-discovery, resilience, and the courage to live authentically. Born as Chastity Bono in 1969 to the legendary music duo Sonny and Cher, he was raised in the public eye, appearing alongside his parents on television from a young age. The world saw him as the adorable blonde-haired child of two superstars. But behind the scenes, Chaz struggled with a deep sense of disconnect from the identity that had been assigned to him at birth. For years, Chaz wrestled with an internal conflict that brought significant emotional distress. Despite trying to conform to the expectations placed upon him, he found it increasingly difficult to feel at ease in his own skin. He often experienced a profound discomfort, as if the life he was living wasn't truly his. This disconnection deepened over time, leading him to eventually realize that he was not meant to live as a woman. However, coming to terms with this realization was far from simple. It required immense courage to share his truth with the world, especially as someone born into Hollywood royalty. The fear of being rejected, particularly by his mother, Cher, weighed heavily on him, making the journey to self-acceptance even more daunting. For years, Chaz kept these feelings to himself, trying to maintain the public persona that the world expected. It wasn't until the late 2000s that he took the brave step of publicly coming out as transgender. At the age of 40, he made the life-changing decision to transition, undergoing top surgery and beginning hormone therapy. These physical transformations were deeply significant, representing the long-sought alignment between his body and his true identity. For Chaz, these changes weren't just external. They symbolized a newfound sense of freedom and self-acceptance. However, the transition process wasn't without its challenges. Chaz faced personal struggles with body image, a battle that many transgender individuals experience. Adjusting to his new appearance and navigating societal perceptions was a deeply personal journey. But instead of shying away from these challenges, he used them as a platform to help others. By openly discussing his experiences, Chaz became a powerful advocate for trans men, offering visibility and representation to those who rarely saw themselves reflected in mainstream media. His advocacy work extends beyond just his personal story. Chaz has taken on roles in activism, speaking out for transgender rights and increased awareness. He has also pursued a career in acting, breaking barriers as a transgender man in Hollywood. He made history as the first transgender man to star as a male lead in a feature film, and has appeared in television shows such as The Bold and The Beautiful and American Horror Story. His presence in entertainment has helped challenge outdated norms and push for more inclusive representation in the industry. Through his journey, Chaz Bono has proven that it's never too late to embrace authenticity. His story continues to inspire countless others, showing that self-acceptance, no matter how difficult, is always worth pursuing. Andreja Pejic's rise from an androgynous model to a transgender fashion icon is a powerful story of self-discovery and breaking barriers. She first gained fame as a male model who effortlessly walked both men's and women's runways, challenging traditional ideas of beauty and gender in the fashion industry. Her striking features and unique ability to embody both masculine and feminine aesthetics captivated top designers, making her one of the most sought-after models of her time. However, while the industry celebrated her androgynous appeal, Andreja privately wrestled with the realization that her true self was still being hidden. Born in Bosnia and raised in Australia, Andreja faced significant challenges from an early age. She was naturally drawn to femininity, enjoying makeup and dressing up in her mother's clothes, but quickly learned that society had rigid expectations for how boys were supposed to behave. As a result, she endured relentless bullying for not fitting into the strict gender norms imposed by her peers. The constant scrutiny and isolation made her childhood a painful experience, but it also fueled her resilience. As Andreja grew older, her distinct appearance became more noticeable, drawing both admiration and confusion from those around her. While her androgynous look eventually became an asset in the fashion world, it also presented personal struggles. She often felt as though she was playing a role rather than living as her authentic self. Despite reaching the heights of modeling success, working with elite designers and gracing the covers of major magazines, something was missing. The industry had embraced her gender fluidity, but deep down, Andreja knew she was not meant to live as a man. In 2014, after years of inner turmoil and self-reflection, Andreja made the courageous decision to transition. The decision was not made lightly. She knew it could potentially impact her thriving career in an industry that had long struggled with inclusivity. However, she prioritized her own happiness and authenticity over professional uncertainty. That same year, she made history by becoming the first transgender model to be featured on the cover of GQ, breaking new ground for trans visibility in fashion and beauty. Her transition marked the beginning of a new chapter, not only in her personal life, but in the broader conversation around gender inclusivity in fashion. No longer confined to the label of an androgynous model, she fully embraced her identity as a woman and continued her career with even greater confidence. Her success proved that being transgender was not a limitation. It was a testament to strength and authenticity. Today, Andreja Pejic continues to break barriers in the fashion industry, advocating for greater representation and inclusivity. She has used her platform to raise awareness about transgender issues and challenge outdated beauty standards. Her journey from an androgynous runway star to a trailblazing trans icon serves as an inspiration for countless individuals struggling to find their own place in the world. Through her resilience and determination, she has redefined what it means to be a model, proving that beauty is about more than appearance. It's about embracing who you truly are. Jazz Jennings has become one of the most recognizable and influential voices for transgender youth, using her story to inspire acceptance, understanding, and advocacy. From an incredibly young age, she displayed remarkable self-awareness, knowing she was a girl even though she was assigned male at birth. Unlike many transgender individuals who struggle in silence for years, Jazz openly shared her truth at just 6 years old, courageously speaking about her identity in interviews and public appearances. Her willingness to share her journey made her one of the youngest and most visible transgender figures in the world. From the moment she could express herself, Jazz made it clear to her family that she was a girl. She would immediately correct her parents if they referred to her as a boy, and often imagined a magical fairy who could change her body to align with her true self. Unlike many transgender children who face rejection, Jazz was fortunate to have a supportive family that embraced her identity. With their encouragement, she grew into a confident young advocate, using her voice to raise awareness and help other transgender children navigate their own journeys. As she grew older, Jazz became a powerful activist for transgender youth. She starred in the TLC reality series I Am Jazz, which documented her experiences navigating school, friendships, medical decisions, and the everyday challenges of growing up trans. The show offered an intimate look at both the struggles and victories of being a transgender youth in a world that often lacks understanding and acceptance. Through her openness, she helped to educate millions, dispelling harmful stereotypes and providing representation for young transgender people who rarely saw themselves reflected in media. Despite her confidence, Jazz still faced adversity. Like many transgender youth, she experienced bullying and judgment from those who refused to accept her identity. In school, she endured cruel comments and exclusion, but she never let the negativity shake her sense of self. Instead, she continued to push forward, using each challenge as fuel for her advocacy. Her message remained clear. Being transgender is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to embrace with pride. A significant milestone in her journey was undergoing gender confirmation surgery, a deeply personal and transformative step. Jazz chose to document this experience publicly, giving the world an unfiltered look at both the emotional and physical aspects of transitioning. By doing so, she provided invaluable insight for other transgender individuals considering similar medical steps, further normalizing the conversation around transgender healthcare. Today, Jazz Jennings continues to be a trailblazer, using her platform as an author, activist, and social media presence to advocate for trans rights. She has written books, delivered speeches, and worked with organizations dedicated to LGBTQ+ equality. Her resilience and unwavering commitment to being herself have made her a role model for countless people around the world. Jazz's journey is not just her own. It represents a movement toward a more accepting, inclusive, and compassionate society. Elliot Page's journey in Hollywood has been one of talent, transformation, and courageous self-discovery. Formerly known as Ellen Page, he first gained widespread recognition for his Academy Award-nominated role in Juno, 2007, followed by acclaimed performances in Inception, X-Men, Days of Future Past, and The Umbrella Academy. While Elliot's career flourished, behind the scenes, he struggled with dysphoria and the challenges of navigating fame while not living as his authentic self. In December 2020, Elliot publicly came out as transgender, announcing his identity in a heartfelt social media post. His message resonated deeply, as he expressed both joy and relief in embracing his true self while acknowledging the challenges ahead. The announcement made waves across Hollywood, making Elliot one of the most prominent transgender actors in the industry. His openness about his journey provided visibility and validation to countless trans and non-binary individuals who rarely saw themselves represented in mainstream media. Before coming out, Elliot had long battled gender dysphoria, which contributed to struggles with anxiety and depression. Growing up in the entertainment industry as a young actor, he often felt confined by the roles and expectations imposed on him. The pressure of having to present a certain way for public appearances and film roles took a toll on his mental health. By finally embracing his true identity, Elliot found a renewed sense of happiness and freedom. Elliot's transition also had a groundbreaking impact on Hollywood. His role in The Umbrella Academy, in which he played Vanya Hargreaves, was seamlessly adapted to reflect his real-life transition. The show's writers worked closely with Elliot to craft a storyline that was authentic and meaningful, making him one of the first openly trans actors to play a trans character in a major series. This shift not only provided representation, but also set a precedent for how trans actors and characters can be portrayed in film and television. Beyond acting, Elliot has become a powerful advocate for trans rights. He speaks openly about the importance of gender-affirming healthcare, the challenges trans people face, and the need for greater acceptance. His visibility has helped shift conversations in Hollywood, proving that trans actors deserve leading roles without being confined to stereotypical narratives. Elliot Page's story is one of resilience and authenticity. By coming out and continuing his career on his own terms, he has redefined what it means to be a leading man in Hollywood. His courage has paved the way for a more inclusive industry, inspiring others to embrace their identities and demand greater representation. Billy Porter is a trailblazer who has shattered gender norms and redefined masculinity in entertainment and fashion. Best known for his Emmy-winning role as Pray Tell in Pose, Billy has used his visibility to challenge traditional ideas of what a black male entertainer can look like. His fearless approach to self-expression has made him a cultural icon, proving that fashion and identity have no limits. Before his rise to fame, Billy faced years of rejection in the entertainment industry. As a gay black man in Hollywood and Broadway, he struggled to find roles that allowed him to be his authentic self. Casting directors often told him he was too flamboyant for leading roles, reinforcing the rigid stereotypes that dictated how black male actors were expected to present themselves. For years, Billy was forced to dim his light to fit into industry standards. But instead of conforming, he forged his own path. His breakthrough came with Pose, a groundbreaking show centered on the Black and Latinx ballroom scene of the 1980s and 1990s. His portrayal of Pray Tell, a fierce and compassionate ballroom MC living with HIV, was not only award-winning, but also deeply personal. The role allowed Billy to bring visibility to stories that had long been ignored, and his performance resonated with audiences worldwide. Billy's impact extends beyond acting. His extravagant red carpet appearances have become a form of activism. Whether wearing a tuxedo gown at the Oscars or a golden winged ensemble at the Met Gala, he consistently defies traditional notions of masculinity. His fashion choices are statements of empowerment, challenging the idea that men must conform to strict, binary dress codes. Each appearance is a celebration of gender fluidity, proving that fashion is a tool for self-expression rather than restriction. Using his platform, Billy has been a vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, racial justice, and self-love. He speaks openly about his struggles growing up in a conservative religious household and the challenges he faced as a queer black man in the entertainment industry. By sharing his journey, he encourages others to embrace their individuality without fear. Billy Porter is more than just a performer. He is a movement. By redefining masculinity and breaking barriers in fashion, television, and theater, he has paved the way for future generations to express themselves without limitations. His message is clear: authenticity is power, and self-expression is a form of liberation. Hunter Schafer is a rising force in Hollywood, using her platform to bring greater visibility to transgender and non-binary identities. Best known for her breakout role as Jules Vaughn in Euphoria, she has captivated audiences with her raw, emotional performances and her commitment to authenticity. Before becoming an actress, Hunter first made waves in the fashion world as a high-fashion model, breaking barriers on international runways. Raised in North Carolina, Hunter grew up in a conservative environment where being transgender was not widely understood or accepted. From a young age, she struggled with the disconnect between her identity and how the world perceived her. Art and activism became her refuge, allowing her to express herself freely. She found solace in drawing, fashion, and online communities that provided the support she lacked in her immediate surroundings. Hunter began her transition at a young age, a decision that required immense bravery given the lack of acceptance in her hometown. Her journey was not without challenges, but she remained determined to live as her true self. She later became involved in activism, speaking out for trans rights and even challenging North Carolina's anti-trans bathroom bill as a teenager. Her advocacy work helped bring national attention to the struggles of transgender youth and their fight for equal rights. Before her acting career took off, Hunter built an impressive resume as a model, walking for top designers such as Dior, Prada, and Marc Jacobs. Her androgynous beauty and striking presence challenged traditional beauty standards in the industry. She quickly became a trailblazer, proving that fashion could be a space for gender fluidity and inclusivity. Her big break came when she was cast in HBO's Euphoria, a critically acclaimed series that explores themes of identity, trauma, and self-acceptance. As Jules Vaughn, Hunter portrays a complex, multi-dimensional transgender character, something rarely seen in mainstream media. Her performance was widely praised for its authenticity, as she brought her own experiences into the role, making Jules one of the most relatable and well-developed transgender characters on television. Beyond acting and modeling, Hunter continues to advocate for trans and gender non-conforming individuals. She uses her platform to speak on issues such as mental health, LGBTQ+ rights, and the importance of representation. She remains a voice for young people who are navigating their identities in a world that often struggles to accept them. Hunter Schafer is more than just a rising star. She is a beacon of hope for a new generation. Her ability to seamlessly blend activism, fashion, and acting has made her a powerful force in the entertainment industry. With each role she takes on and each barrier she breaks, she is proving that gender fluidity is not just a concept, but a reality that deserves to be seen, heard, and celebrated.